Okay, Assalamualaikum and good afternoon everybody. Today we are going to do some activity related to DHCP version 6. Okay, in the meantime, I'm also going to show you what is the difficulty when we are going to configure our network without using a DHCP or any auto configuration. Okay, I have listed down all the command in here. Okay, first we have router 1 and router 2 in here. I'm going to connect between them. The connection is I'm using serial 01, serial 0/1/0. And the DCE is on router 1. So I need to configure the clock rate. It's okay. Now, enable configure terminal host name R1. You can do all the basic setting, but today I'm not going to do that. So first I need to turn on this interface. Interface serial 0/1/0. Okay, I'm going to put the IP address. If you see here, I do not put any IP address. I just put in the link locker. Okay, IPv6 address FE80 double column 1's link locker. Clock rate 64,000. Okay, good. Then no shutdown. Okay, done for router 1. Now on router 2. We are not going to do auto configuration. Enable configure terminal hostname R2 interface serial 0/1/0 IPv6 address FE80 double column 2 link locker no shutdown END. Okay, so you can see now we have the interface up, and if I try from here, I'm not sure I can do that. Ping FE80 double column 1. Okay, you must select which interface. Serial 0/1/0. Okay, good. So I can get a reply. So now I'm going to configure this interface G0/0/0 on this LAC connected to switch 1 and PC1. Okay, I'm going to configure interface G0/0/0. Okay, I stated here the command for configuring the IP address only. So I'm going to put IPv6 address 2001 column DB8 column ACAD column 1 double column 1/64. Okay, I'm not going to configure the link locker here. I do not put the link locker. It's okay, but later after this, I'm going to add a link locker. No shutdown. Okay, change state to up now. Okay, so if I do END, show IPv6 interface brief, you should see the interface that I'm already configured. Gigabit Ethernet 0/0/0. I have my own link locker has been created automatically. Whenever I configure an IPv6 address, so the iOS will generate a link locker IP, same like a PC. So when we enable, they have the link locker address. But you can see what's the difficulty that we might have here. Okay, I need to configure the IP address here. If I do automatic, I cannot get any reply because there is no SLAAC or DHCP enable yet in this router 1. Okay, remember, in order to enable SLAAC, I must do IPv6 unicast routing to enable routing, and then the SLAAC is automatically enabled. But now I do not do that. So I cannot get the IP address through SLAAC. So I need to configure manually. So here I'm going to use this IP address 2001 column DB8 column ACAD column 1 double column 2. Okay, luckily the number is quite easy, 64. But what is the default gateway? So for the default gateway now, here there's a problem. Okay, I'm going to configure a link locker. I can use, Gigabit is not 1 double column 2, suppose 1 double column 1 in here. I need to configure back. Configure terminal, interface G0/0/0, no IPv6 address 2001 column DB8 column ACAD column 1 double column 2/64 is a 1 double column 1 actually. Okay, if not we have a same IP address. And show IPv6 interface brief. Okay, you can see here, this is the IP address of our interface. So for a device in here, we need to configure default gateway with this IP address. We can use a link locker. What is the IP address of link locker in here? We cannot remember it. FE80 double column 20 column CFF column FE18 column 4001. So try to imagine if you need to write this number. You need to memorize first, or you need to write down somewhere, and then you go to the PC and then you need to configure this. So if I close this, I can assure you that I cannot remember it, but I can remember this IP address. Luckily, we have a double column in here, so there is so many number has been skipped out from the IP. But if we have a long number, we still need to type that. But it's okay. I can use, rather than typing the link locker, I can type 2001 column DB8 column ACAD column 1 double column 2. Okay, now I have a default gateway. So I can ping 2001 column DB8 column ACAD column 1 double column 2. So I get a reply. But we haven't used a gateway yet. So now I'm going to create another network in here. I'm going to give the IP address of interface G0/0/1. So here, okay, configure terminal, interface G0/0/1, IPv6 address. So in here we are going to use address 2001 column DB8 column ACAD column 2 double column 1/64. No shutdown. Okay. And show IPv6 interface brief. Okay, now we have a 2 double column 1. So in here, PC1. So that if I do not have this default gateway, I cannot ping to 1. Let's go to simulation in here. So you see, straight away drop. Why? Because there is no default gateway. It's not set. So I need a default gateway now. Whenever I need to go to any IP outside of our network, 2.1 is 2 double column 1 is outside of our network now. So now I need to set a default gateway. 201 column DB8 column ACAD column 1 double column 1. Now we can try one more time. You can see? So the data frame already able to move forward. Okay? Can get a reply. So if you see here, I get a reply. So that's the purpose of default gateway. So now we are going to configure for the second network here. I can do on the same network, but I'm trying to use a different network. Okay. In here, I'm already turned on the interface, give the IP address, and now I need to turn on the SLAAC. So how to turn on the SLAAC? You need this command, IPv6 unicast routing. Actually, IPv6 unicast routing is a global command. So I need to type configure terminal, IPv6 unicast routing. Then what happened actually, I'm enable the SLAAC for the both leg. Okay, PC1 also already can use a SLAAC, but I do not want to touch your PC1. I'm just going to leave it in the static configuration. I'm going to use a PC2 now. So let's see on PC2. So if I choose automatic, you can see straight away I can get the IP address automatically, which is PC2 generate the last 64-bit. If I do ipconfig/all, you can see this is the IP address of PC2. 2001 DBA ACAD double column 2. This is the network ID, and they generate the last 64-bit based on this 48-bit of MAC address. They just insert FF, FE in the middle and change the first 2 digit to 02. Okay, that's all. And you can see I'm also get the default gateway. But I'm also can simplify the default gateway actually. If you can see here, both of default gateway here, we are using a auto-generated IP address. So now I'm going to generate a more simplified IP address. Interface G0/0/1 IPv6 address FE80:1 link locker. Done. So when I change that, you should see here, okay, straight away they change to FE80:1. So if you want to see before that, their default gateway is the IP that generated here. So if I do one more time IP config here, you can see the default gateway has been changed, more simplified. Okay, same for this one. I'm also can change there by inserting the link locker in here. Done with the SLAAC. So the configuration is very easy. In order to do a SLAAC, you just configure the IP address. So now, okay, for the gigabit internet interface, okay, you can see gigabit internet 000 and 001 also the same. Even I can put the link locker inside G000. Okay, maybe you can see that is not same. Yes, interface G0/0/0 IPv6 address FE80:1 link locker. Okay, so now you can see interface G000 and G001 almost the same. The difference actually the IP address. So in order to enable SLAAC or to turn on a flag, okay, we just run this command IPv6 unicast routing here. So when we do this, actually we enable SLAAC for both of this link. If you turn PC1 into automatic, they can get the IP address automatically. So when I'm already change there, if I see if I do automatic, you can see they get the IP address, but they generate the IP address. So I don't want to use a generated IP address. I want to use db8 ACAD 1:2/64. And now for the default gateway, I can easily type FE80:1. So there is a reason we are using FE80:1 compared to the auto-generated link locker address for the router. But for the PC, we don't care. Let's use it. Leave it. So now I'm going to configure another two more kind of auto configuration for IPv6. So now in this leg, I'm going to change into a stateless. I mean a SLAAC with a DHCP. So SLAAC, we offer the IP address and default gateway, but other info. So here we are going to provide DNS server and domain name. So on R2, you see there is no configuration yet. Configure terminal. I'm just configure the interface in here only. Okay. So interface G0/0/0 IPv6 address 2001 column db8 column ACAD column 3:1/64 and then IPv6 address FE80:1 link locker no shutdown. Okay, END configure terminal IPv6 unicast routing done. So now our PC, the router here already offering a SLAAC. So if you go to PC, I do automatically, but you see the interface is not properly up yet. I just fast forward it. So I get the IP address and link default gateway FE80. Okay. Now we are going to offer other info. We only have the IP address, but if you like to use the DNS server, So SLAAC cannot offer the info of DNS server. So we are going to create a pool in here. But there is no pool inside. They just only provide a other info. So how to create other info? We still calling them as a pool. IPv6 DHCP pool. Okay, so we need to give a name. So I give name R2 stateless. Just name. Okay, so the other info that we need to do access DNS server. So let's say this is just a dummy IP. Okay, 2001 column DB8 column ACAD column 6 double column 254. Okay, never mind. And domain name, what I say, stateless. Okay, stateless double S, never mind. .com. Okay, done. END. So now we are going to enable this pool inside this interface, this SLAAC. So we need to go to interface G0/0/0. So we need to configure with the other info. We need to turn on the O flag. So in order to turn on the O flag, we need to do IPv6 ND and okay, I'm going to show you other config flag. To turn on other config flag, you just do other config flag. So just type other config flag, enter. So now we already turn on the O flag. A flag is turned on by the command IPv6 unicast routing. I'm already offer there is a DHCP server. So what is the DHCP server? Which DHCP server that we would like to use in this port on this interface? So I need to specify the DHCP server. Compared to IPv4, IPv4 they will pick automatically based on the IP address. But here you need to specify what server that you need to use. So IPv6 DHCP server, so you need to specify the server or the pool that you created before. So this is the pool that we are going to use. And copy and paste it. Okay, now done. And then in here, you can see they already updated. So they get the DNS server here. So if I go to here, okay, this is a before we do or we offer a DHCP server. You do not get the info related to domain name. You do not get the info about DNS server, and there is no DHCP server. So now I'm going to do ipconfig/all. So you should see now connection specific DNS service stateless.com. This is the domain that we provide. And DNS server, this is the IP address that we offer. 2001 DB8 ACAD column C double column 254. Okay, and there is a DHCP server is a DHCP server for IPv4. So DHCP server for IPv6 here. We have the ID and we have the client unique ID here. So we already provide auto configuration by using a SLAAC combined with the other info from DHCP server. Okay, that's for this lake. So now I'm going to configure for a stateful. Stateful, which is we are not going to use a SLAAC, but we are going to manage everything through a DHCP server. So compared to stateless, stateful, we need to define the network inside our pool. In the stateless, inside our pool, we do not define the network ID here. Okay, in the stateful, we define the network ID by command address prefix. So we are going to create another pool in here, R2, IPv6, DHCP pool, R2, stateful. Okay, so now we are given with a sub configuration. So now we are going to put, you can put any command regardless their sequence. Okay, let's say I put a DNS server first. 2001 column, DB8 column, ACAD column. Let's say I give another number, 7 dot column 254. So, okay. Actually, in one network, we only use 1 or 2 DNS server. But I just would like to show you this info or the client get from a different pool. That's why I'm using a different DNS server. Okay. And then the domain name. Sorry. Domain name, I use a stateful.com. Okay. In one organization, you should use the same domain name. So in this diagram, actually, we're supposed to use same domain name, one domain name only. But for this example, I use a different domain name. Okay, never mind. So we already create a DNS server same like a stateless. So the difference between stateless and stateful, the stateful is just a name, but the purpose of this pool actually for stateless and stateful. You can give any name without putting this a stateless or stateful. So I need to put the address prefix. So what is the network ID we are going to use here? 2001 column DB8 column ACAD column 4 column AAAA double column slash. Okay, so now I'm going to use this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 segment as a network ID. So it's no longer 64-bit. Okay, so now it's a slash 80. Okay, so we create a slash 80. Done. END or exit, configure terminal, interface, G0/0/1. I'm going to configure the IP address, IPv6 address 2001 column DB8 column ACAD column 4 double column 1/64. IPv6 address 20 FE80 double column 1 link locker, no shutdown. Okay. So now, even though I configure this interface with the IP address of 2001 column DB8 column ACAD column 4 double column /64, but I want all the devices here are using IP from this network. But are they belong to the same network? So we are configured as a part of the bigger network. So now, I'm already create the IP address. So if I go straight in here, I do not define the pool yet, even though I've already created the pool. If I do the automatic, okay, I get the IP. This is through a SLAAC, but I don't want to have to use a SLAAC now. So now, in order to tell a router or interface to not use a SLAAC, tell a client actually, okay, interface G0/0/1, I need to set another flag M. So IPv6 ND. Remember, IPv6 ND manage config flag. And actually, there is another command you can do to turn off the A only for this interface. Okay, but there is no for auto. Okay, it's not that command. Okay, so we are only able to do a manage config flag only. So when you manage config flag, will tell the router advertisement will tell please do not use a SLAAC, but use DHCP version 6. All managed by DHCP version 6. With this server, which server? So now you need to specify what server you need to do. So IPv6 DHCP server. So under name I put there R2 stateful. Done. So are you get it how to configure a DHCP server with a stateful? So same like stateless, we just create a pool, but we must add the network prefix. And then inside our interface, we must do or enable the M flag. But now I'm going to route between these two networks. Okay, so if PC sit in here, try to ping 2001 column DB8 column ACAD column 1 double column 2. That's why I want to use a manual IP. Destination host unreachable. Why? Let's see, where did this stop receiver? So let's go back in here. Okay, let's see where our packet can go. It go up to the router and it cannot go beyond here. So if you still remember, in order to go to other network beyond our router, we need to have a routing. So I have the command for the routing here. Okay, for R1 now. Maybe I go for R2 first. END. So IP configure terminal. IPv6 route. So the command, the network 201 column DB8 column ACAD column 1 double column /64. And then our exit interface. You put here, you can put the IP address of Netshook, but you cannot use a link locker. Okay, if I put a link locker FE80 double column 1, interface must be specified for all link locker Netshook. So I need to specify the interface. Serial 0/0/0/1/0. Okay, this is the interface of this here. Okay, press enter. And then for the network 2, or I can add the Netshook FE80 double column 1. Because this is the IP address of Netshook FE80 double column 1. Done. Okay, so if I start again is here, you can see, so our router now know how to send to the network 1.0. But when PC1 reply, go to R1, R1 doesn't know how to go to network 3.0. I need to add a route on R3 also. So the same command, configure enable, configure terminal, IPv6 route 2001 column DB8 column ACAD column 3 double column /64 serial 0/1/0 and Netshook. What's the Netshook here? Netshook IP address here. From point of view of R1, FE80 double column 2, because it's a Netshook, not their IP address. So on R1, the IP address is FE80, but Netshook is a FE802. From point of view R2, Netshook is a FE801. So now we put a 2 for network 3, and then for network 4.0, 4 column double column 0. Okay, done. END. So now if I go back to our diagram here, run one more packet. So now I can go there. And I can get a reply. So if I see in here, I get a reply now. So if you try to ping, you do not get a reply most of the time. The problem is for the network if you have already checked all the IP. So in this case, all the IP you have no problem because you configure it from the DHCP. You should make sure your DHCP is working, and then there is no need to check the IP anymore. And the IP is already unique. So what's other problem might be the routing and so on.